The tables below give the distribution of high temperatures in degrees Fahrenheit for City A and City B over the same 21 days in March. This is the City A's table, this is City B's table. Then he goes on to ask, which of the following is true about the data shown for these 21 days? Alright, so let's look at the first choice. The standard deviation of temperatures in City A is larger than City B. Okay, so standard deviation means how far away you are from the center. So for City A, the center is right around here, 78, and the same thing for City B. So the more points you have closer to the center, the smaller your standard deviation, because you're closer to the center, you're not deviating from it too far, you're not spread out too far from the center. Well, City A has 14, that's a lot of points near the center. Compare that to City B, that only has 3 near the center and then a lot more away from that center. So we know that the standard deviation is smaller here because there are more points near the center. The standard deviation is bigger here because there are more points away from that center. So A cannot be right. Let's look at B. The standard deviation of temperatures in City B is larger. That's exactly what we just said. So B would be the answer to this, but let's just look at the other ones. The standard deviation of temperatures in City A is the same as that of City B. They're not the same. The standard deviation of temperatures in these cities cannot be calculated with the data provided. That's not true. It definitely can be calculated. In fact, if you wanted to use your calculator, you can. But just generally speaking, B is correct. But how would you use your calculator to find the standard deviation? Well, if you own a TI 83 or 84 or 84 plus CE, any of those TI calculators, you can use the stat feature. So you go to stat, and then in L1 you would choose edit, and then you would enter all your data in L1, and then be careful because for 80, for example, for City A, 80 degrees, you have to enter 83 times because the frequency is 3. 79, you'd have to enter that 14 times. 78, you would have to enter that twice. Do that till you finish, and then you can use your stat button again and then calculate, and then you would click on one variable stat, one variable statistics, and that would give you all these values that we need, and among them would be the standard deviation. However, as you can see, that's a really time-consuming process because you have to do that for 2 tables. So it's best to understand the standard deviation is just the distance from the center. The closer your points are clustered near the center, the smaller the standard deviation. The more points you have away from the center, the bigger the standard deviation. So B would be the answer to this question.